Very good evening, children. I hope all are fine. All are keeping in good health. It has been so many days we did not take class. The last topic we have discussed in geography was manufacturing industries. Chapter 6, manufacturing industries. You might have forgotten everything, isn't it? Children, do you remember? What is manufacturing? Can anyone say what is manufacturing? Okay. Production of goods in large quantities after processing from raw materials into more valuable products. See, production of goods in large quantities from raw materials to more valuable goods. For example, we know that sugar we get it from sugar cane, cotton cloths we get it from cotton plant, etc. The examples of manufacturing. Again, we have seen what is the importance of manufacturing. What is the importance of manufacturing? Manufacturing is considered the backbone of Indian economy. We know that. What is the importance of backbone? Without a backbone, we cannot stand straight. Just like that, without a manufacturing, our nation cannot progress, isn't it? So we have seen the importance. It helps in modernizing agriculture, etc., etc. We have studied. Again, we have seen what are the classification of industries. Different kinds of industries are there. Okay, how industries are classified on the basis of on the basis of capital investments, on the basis of agro-based industries. What is the agro-based industries? The industries that use agriculture as the raw material, isn't it? Again, we have seen what are mineral-based industries. Then how industries are classified on the basis of capital investments. Then on the basis of ownership, public sector industries, private sector industries, joint sector industries, cooperative sector industries, etc. We have studied, isn't it? Okay. Again, last class we have discussed about the textile industry. Cotton textile industry is the most important industry in India. Okay. Then now we are going to study about jute textiles. We don't know what is jute. It is a plant. India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods in the world, and the second largest exporter. Bangladesh is the largest exporter of jute goods. So India stands. India is the second position in exporting, and India is the largest producer of raw jute in the world. Again, we know that most of the jute mills are concentrated in the Hooghly Basin. What is the Hooghly? It is the name of a river situated in Kolkata, capital West Bengal. Okay, so we can see that almost all the jute mills are located or set up, established by the side of Hooghly River. What are the reasons? So the question can be asked for 3 marks or 6 marks, 5 marks. Okay, why most of the jute mills are located in the Hooghly Basin? Many reasons are there. The first reason is that the proximity of jute producing areas. What is the proximity? Proximity means nearness. That means jute is a raw material. So this plant, jute plant is grown in large amount by the side of river Hooghly. Okay, that is one of the reasons, proximity of jute producing areas. Then inexpensive water transport. Inexpensive, very cheap water transport. Through the water, the jute goods could be transported to various places. Again, good network of roadways, railways and waterways. We know that Kolkata is a big town. Okay, it's a metropolitan city in India. So Kolkata is connected with by railways, by roadways, and by airways. Okay. Then, so that is why the goods after production, after manufacturing is done, it could be transported to other areas with the help of roadways, railways, and waterways. Again, another important thing is that abundant water for processing raw jute. Actually, a lot of water is required for the processing purpose. So, a lot of water is available from the Hooghly river. Then, cheap labor from neighboring states. We know that West Bengal is surrounded by many states like West Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, and our state Uttar Pradesh. So, a lot of labor is available from these states, from the nearby states. Again, Kolkata is an important town, urban center, provides banking, insurance, transport, etc. So, that is why we can find that almost all the jute mills, jute factories are located in the Hooghly basin. Okay. First point, the proximity of jute producing areas, that means nearness, nearby Hooghly basin or by side of Hooghly river, a lot of jute is planted. Then inexpensive water transport, good network of roadways, waterways, and railways. Again, cheap labor from nearby states, neighboring states like West Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Now, again, you know that the jute industries face a lot of challenges. Which can be asked, what are the challenges faced by the jute industries in India? First point is that stiff competition in the international markets. So we know that at present, as part of globalization, we know that any country can sell anything anywhere in the world. So apart from India, many countries like Bangladesh, Philippines, etc., they manufacture jute goods and they send to different markets. So there's a lot of competition in the international markets. From synthetic substitutes, that is another thing. Then competition from other countries like Bangladesh, Philippines, Brazil, Egypt, etc. These are the important countries that they cultivate jute and they produce jute goods. Okay, question can be asked, what are the important challenges faced by the jute industry in India? Stiff competition in the international market from synthetic substitutes. Again, competition from other countries like Bangladesh, Philippines, Brazil, Egypt, etc. Okay. Again, we know that in order to stimulate, in order to encourage jute manufacturing, the government of India has framed National Jute Policy in the year 2005. Question can be asked, what are the objectives? What are the objectives? Aim, lecture, isn't it? What are the objectives of National Jute Policy 2005? Or why did Government of India start or framed this policy? Okay. To increase productivity, that was the most important thing. The production of jute should be increased. That was the most important objective. To increase productivity, again to improve quality. Very good quality goods, jute goods should be produced. Okay. To ensure good prices to the farmers. We know the many lakhs of jute farmers are there. They should get good prices should be ensured to them. Okay, to ensure good prices to the farmers and to enhance yield per hectare. Per hectare, 1 hectare, for example, per hectare land, the production should be increased. To enhance yield per hectare. These are the 4 objectives. First point, to increase productivity. Then to improve quality. Quality bedanane. Then to ensure good prices to the farmers. The farmers should get very good prices for their jute goods. Again, to enhance yield per hectare. Okay, these are the objectives of National Jute Policy 2005. Okay, now we studied about jute industry. Okay, now another important agro-based industry is sugar industry. India is the second largest producer of sugar in the world and the largest producer of gur and kandasari. India is the second largest producer of sugar in the world and largest producer of gur and kandasari. What is it, gur? Okay, we know that Hindi we say misri, isn't it? Okay, and kandasari is misri. What is gur? Okay, these are the byproducts of sugar cane. Okay. Then nowadays there is a question can be asked: why in recent years most of the sugar industries are shifted and concentrated in the southern and western states like Maharashtra? Okay, once upon a time, large number of sugar industries were located in the northern states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, etc. But nowadays there is a tendency to shift and concentrate these sugar industries in the southern states or western states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. What are the reasons? So many years this is the same question was asked. Very important topic. Okay, why in recent years most of the sugar industries are located or shifted in southern and western states like Maharashtra? Answer is that the sugar cane produced here has higher sucrose content. What is it in biology? You might have studied what is sucrose content? Sweetness, meeta jada, isn't it? The sugar cane cultivated in Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. has higher sucrose content. That is most sweety, isn't it? Then the cooler climate. So here these areas, climate is cooler. It ensures larger crushing season. Then cooperative societies are more successful in these states. Okay, what is cooperative society? Cooperative sectors we have studied. That means the workers or producers, they come together and they produce, they sell in the markets. Yeah. This system is known as cooperative system. Okay, that is why first point, the sugar cane produced in Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. has higher sucrose content. Then the cooler climate is cooler. It is very good for the cultivation of jute as well as crushing. Okay. Then cooperatives are more successful in these states. At the same time, the sugar industry in India faces some challenges. What are the challenges faced by sugar industry in India? The first challenge is the seasonal nature of the industry. What is the seasonal nature of the industry? Throughout the year, the people cannot depend on it. Only certain seasons or 4 or 5 months, people can get employment in sugar industry. Seasonal nature of the industry. That the people cannot fully depend. Throughout the year, they cannot depend on this industry. Seasonal nature of the industry is one of the drawbacks of this sugar industry. Then old and inefficient method of production. So even though many years passed away, still we are following the old and traditional methods of production. Old and inefficient method of production. Then transport delay in reaching the cane to factories. We know that the sugar cane must reach the factories in time, side time per pound, isn't it? Now, otherwise, what will happen? It will become dry. Sugar cane will become dry, and we cannot get much sugar from this. So, transport delay must be avoided. Transport delay in reaching the cane to factories. Fourth point, the need to maximize the use of bagasse. What is it? Bagasse, the waste materials must see. The sugar cane. Sugar is extracted from sugar cane, then a lot of waste will be there. So this waste must be used systematically. So these are the 4 drawbacks of sugar industry. First thing, seasonal nature of the industry. Second point, old and inefficient method of production, still we are following the old and traditional method of production. Okay, we are not advanced in the production of sugar. Then transport delay in reaching the cane to factory. That means the sugar cane must reach the factories in time. Okay, children? Okay, now we completed agro-based industries. Okay, now we study what are mineral-based industries. What are mineral-based industries? By the word itself we can understand. It is a basic, these are industries that use minerals and metals as raw materials. What are mineral-based industries? The industries that use minerals and metals as raw materials. Okay, now we see what is the importance of iron and steel industry. Iron and steel industry is one of the most important mineral-based industries. Iron and steel industry. So we know that iron and steel is the basic industry. What is the basic? It is a foundation. Isn't it? Iron and steel industry is the basic industry because all the other industries depend on it for their machinery. You know, all the machineries are made of iron and steel. So that is why iron and steel industry is the basic industry. Why iron and steel industry is the basic industry? Because all the other industries depend on its machinery, or all the machineries are made out of iron and steel. For example, automobile industry, all the machineries, all the body parts, everything is made of iron and steel. Okay. Again, we know that steel, iron and steel. Steel is used in the manufacturing of engineering goods, construction materials, defense, etc. Almost everything is made out of iron and steel. Then production and consumption of steel is considered as an index of country's development. What is an index? It is a sign of development. That means the countries that use great number of large amount of iron and steel is developed. It is a sign of development. The countries, the production and consumption of steel is considered as an index of countries' development. Okay. Then we see what are the raw materials required to manufacture iron and steel. Iron ore, coking coal and limestone. These are the important raw materials required in the manufacturing of iron and steel. Iron ore, coking coal and limestone. These three things are required at the ratio of 4:2:1 mathematical term. For example, if you are using 4 quintals of iron ore, 2 quintals of coking coal is required and 1 quintal of limestone. So it should be in the ratio of 4:2:1. Can be asked for 1 mark. Okay. Okay, at what ratio raw materials are required? 4:2:1. What are the important raw materials? Iron ore, coking coal and limestone. Again, India is the third India ranks third in the world in the production of crude steel and first in the production of sponge iron. Sponge iron. So you know that it's a low quality iron. While comparing with many other countries, our per capita consumption of iron is very less. It is only 63 kilogram per annum. Can be asked, what is the per capita consumption of iron and steel in India? Average consumption, per capita consumption of steel is only 63 kilogram per year, per annum, in comparison to the world average of 280 kilogram in 2016. Actually, the world average is 280 kilogram, but in India we are using only 63 kilogram. I think that you will not understand that. Per capita consumption. What is it? Per capita income? In economics we study per capita income by a citizen, isn't it? Just like the per capita consumption, how much iron and steel is consumed or used by a single person is known as per capita consumption. It is only 63 kilogram per year, but in world average is 280 kilogram. Okay. Then again we know that another important thing is that most of the iron and steel industries are located in the Chota Nagpur region. Why? What are the reasons? Maximum concentration of iron and steel is found in the Chota Nagpur region. What are the reasons? Chota Nagpur region, iron ore is very inexpensive, low cost of iron ore. That is most important thing. Availability of raw materials. What are the important raw materials? Coking coal, limestone and iron ore is available there in Chota Nagpur region. Then cheap labor and home markets. Labor is available from the nearby states and home market. After the production is over, after the manufacturing is done, it could be sold in the markets. Okay, nearby markets are there. So that is why most of the iron and steel industries in India are located in the Chota Nagpur region. Question can be asked: why large number of concentration is found in the Chota Nagpur region? The reason is that low cost of iron ore is very sasta, isn't it? Okay, a low cost of iron ore, availability of raw materials. Raw materials are available. What are the important raw materials of iron and steel industry? Okay, iron ore, coking coal and limestone. Okay, they are available. Then cheap labor and home markets. Okay, markets are available nearby. Okay. Okay, one more term is there. We stop here. Even though India is one of the largest producers of iron and steel in the world, we could not perform to our potential. We have more caliber. Our capability is more, but our performance itna acha nahi. Why? Though India is the largest producer of iron and steel in the world, we could not perform to our potential. Why? Discuss. Like that question can be asked. Okay. High cost and limited availability of coking coal. That is the most important reason. Actually, coking coal is one of the important raw material. Actually, coking coal is not available in plenty in India. Okay, so we have to import from other countries. It is a high cost, it is both mega, okay, high cost and limited availability of coking coal. That's one of the reasons we could not perform or we could not manufacture iron and steel satisfactorily. Okay, our production is not at all satisfactory. The most important reason is that coking coal is very costly and limited availability. It is not available. Then lower productivity of labor. While comparing with many other countries, we know that our Indians are very lazy to work. We are not hard working that way. Not all. Lower productivity of labor. That is another reason. Then irregular supply of energy. That will be 24 hours. Electricity is required. But we know that in India, most of the time there is no electricity supply. There is no supply of electricity. Okay, irregular supply of electricity and poor infrastructure. Actually, infrastructure, we are using the old type of production, old and inefficient method of production. Okay, poor infrastructure. Okay, building, everything is in a dilapidated condition. Okay, these are the reasons. Even though India is one of the largest producer of iron and steel in the world, our performance is not satisfactory, or we could not perform to our potential. Why? First point, high cost of coking coal or limited availability of coking coal. What is coking coal? It is one of the most important raw material for iron and steel industry. Okay, second point, lower productivity of labor. That means the laborers are not working properly. They are not utilizing their complete power, isn't it? Okay, irregular supply of energy. Actually, electricity would be available 24 hours, non-stop. But here we know that half of the time there will be no electricity supply, okay, poor infrastructure. These are the, that is why our production is not at all satisfactory. Okay, children, we'll stop here. You have to, along with this, and give me the question answers. You have to learn it. You have to write all these things in your question paper, in your copy, and learn it.